Chapter 7. Mother and father knew so much, but even their knowledge had limits. 2 weeks after my 13th birthday, Mother and father sat down with me at the kitchen table during Hannah's afternoon nap. I could tell this would be a serious conversation because our kitchen table was only utilized for two purposes: meals and serious conversations, and rarely at the same time. Father took Mother's hand in his, and she gave him an encouraging smile. He looked back at me and began, "Corban, do you like learning with us? We've never asked until now because you have had such an aptitude for learning. Do you enjoy learning?" I considered the question for a moment. I had never really thought about my education in that light before. Learning had always been something Mother and Father had expected me to do with them, so I did. Even so, most of the experiences that came to mind were positive experiences.
Yes, I do enjoy learning. I feel like every little thing I learn fills in my view of the world a little more.
When Father turned to Mother again, I saw her smile contained a tinge of sadness. She breathed deeply.
That's so good to hear, Corban. We've enjoyed teaching you. You've been such a good student. But your continuing education now presents a problem that we need to solve. Contrary to what you may believe, it's easy for us to admit that we don't know everything. For you to continue learning, it will have to be somewhere else.
The way we see it, there are two options. There is the public school in the Southeast Quarter. It is free for all children who decide they would like to go. Normally, children start going to school for full days from ages 5 to 12. As you're 13 now, you would only attend morning sessions. Afternoons and evenings are open for youth to work as apprentices in an area in which they have interest. In your case, you would be working with me as an apprentice cleric. My mind went blank. I knew little of the public school beyond what I occasionally saw as I rode to the beach. I was both amazed at and intimidated by the number of children I saw playing together in the schoolyard. A knot began growing in my stomach.
And what's the second option?
The second option is to employ private tutors. There are several in the city, most of whom live in the Northwest Quarter. We would have to employ more than one to cover the critical areas of your education. I say employ because they charge a fee, and the ones who travel to work in one's house charge even more. Lessons with tutors would happen whenever the tutors are available, morning, afternoon, and evening, and you would be expected to work with me at the chapel between those times. Father reached across the table to pat my hand. These are our choices. We wanted to know if you had an opinion, one way or the other, before we choose. I couldn't help noticing his careful wording. It didn't seem to be much of a choice, whoever got to make it. I knew my parents were protective of me. The only interaction I had experienced with other children was under their close supervision. Even I understood that. I could imagine their anxiety over the possibility of sending me to a public school, to be taught by other teachers, to learn with other children. Everything would be out of their control, outside their supervision. At first, the idea of being around other youth my age was intimidating. Over the last few years, I had been given limited time alone to ride my bicycle, and I didn't seem to encounter many others my age. As a result, I had little idea of what to expect from others my age. On the other hand, I could be taught by tutors, other citizens in the city who specialized in teaching different subjects. They had made it clear, however, that there would be a cost involved for the hiring of such tutors. I had no idea which way they were leaning, but in the end, it came down to the matter of one choice costing us money and the other costing us none.
I think I would like to try going to public school. I don't know what to expect at all, but I won't know unless I give it a try, right? And I don't want to cost us money unnecessarily.
I looked at each of their faces, attempting to discern which choice they had preferred. Father's face held a quiet pride, while Mother's was neutral, if betraying a small amount of sadness. Father answered for them. Thank you, Corban, for sharing your thoughts. Your mother and I will discuss it further tonight. Hopefully, we will have reached a decision in the morning. Would you like to take a bicycle ride before supper? They had never allowed me out on my own this late in the afternoon. I replied in confusion.
Yes, I would. I'll be back in a little while.
I quietly rose from my chair, pushed it in, and crossed the kitchen. As I walked down the hallway towards the front door, Mother called out,
Have fun, Corban.
Her voice betrayed an anguish that nearly brought me to tears. I opened the door and stepped outside, barely choking out an audible.
I will.
Of course, I rode my bicycle to La Plage, the beach. I had ridden back and forth so many times using different routes that I didn't even have to think about where I was going. I had other things on my mind, even in the swirling heat of that late summer afternoon. Father seemed proud of my choice to try public school. Mother wasn't just sad about what I had expressed. She was depressed about the whole situation. That made me wonder about the oddity of them sending me on a bicycle ride so late in the afternoon, nearly at supper time. Either way, my free time will diminish quickly in the days ahead. That's what it's all about, I answered myself. It's not just the possibility of me going out to school and being around other youth. It's about me leaving. I'm growing up. If Hannah were my daughter instead of my sister, I can imagine it would be hard to let her go out on her own. Mother has spent so much time with me every day since I was born. She has Hannah now too, but I'm her firstborn, her son, her Corban. I'm not a child anymore. I won't have much opportunity to do this kind of thing anymore. It's not surprising now that it looked as if Mother was saying goodbye to an old friend for the last time. After understanding more of how Mother and Father were feeling, or at least believing I did, I felt a little better about the situation. If it was so hard for them to allow me to learn on my own and grow up, I would try to have more courage, to be confident in whatever choice they chose for me. Perhaps they do know what's best for me, I thought, as I parked my bicycle and walked towards the shore, looking out over the waves in the light of the failing evening sun, in the face of uncertainty as unknown as the breadth of the great sea. I hoped they were right. The following morning, as I waited to hear their decision, I watched Hannah eat her oatmeal with a surprising degree of dexterity for an almost 3-year-old. After a few bites, she noticed me watching and gave me a huge toothy grin. Father cleared his throat. Corban, did you have any more thoughts last night that you want to add before we share our decision? So maybe that's another reason why they sent me out. They wanted to give me more time to think about everything.
No, I don't think so.
That's perfectly fine, Corban. We just wanted to make sure we had heard all of your thoughts and opinions before sharing our decision.
Mother seemed more at peace with the situation than she had the night before. We discussed it last night, and we agree, for now at least, it would be best for you to attend public school in the mornings. Does that sound acceptable to you, Corban?
Yes.
I burst out, unable to contain equal amounts of excitement and nervousness. Then, more calmly, I continued.
I'm nervous, but I want to try it. I know it's difficult for you to send me, but I want to do the best I can.
That's good to hear, son.
But don't worry about us. You just focus on continuing to be the best student you can be.